trust
you.
in you.
There you are.
Oh Lord, Jehovah, you.
I trust. Say it.
I
Show
trust
me how to do it, y'all.
in you.
I believe. Say it. Say it.
I believe you.
I trust.
I trust
Come on.
in you.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord, Jehovah, you.
Where y'all at? Come on. Come on.
I trust in you.
I believe. Say it.
I believe
You are the God of miracles.
you are the God of miracles.
You are the God of wonder.
You are the God of wonder.
You are the God of
You
power.
are the God of power.
I believe. Say it.
I believe.
I believe.
Welcome, one and all. Welcome. How you doing, Doctor? On this fine evening.
Great.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing great. And I love that song, Jehovah. You, I trust in you, and I believe. We definitely believe in Jehovah, our Father, especially after yesterday. We won't get into last night with the torrential rain that came down. But first, I just want to kick it off to, first of all, say good evening to all our villagers out there. And I just want to let you know the village is a community empowerment and development. That's what we're about. We're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life. Helping each one of us realizing our dreams at any age, any point, starting from today. Success is not just spoken, it is done. You hear that, Doc? Success is not just spoken, it is done. So, Doc, tell us about your success.
I'm alive. I am alive. I'm healthy. Listen, I'm blessed. So success being able to impact people day in and day out and pour into them positive vibes, word of encouragement, and just motivate people to be better. That's success for me. What about you?
You said success is to me is, like you said, I woke up this morning after experiencing the torrential rain last night and the aftermath. My condolences goes out to the family of those 9 individuals, might be more, who passed away, more from the storm. This was torrential rain that came down in a matter of minutes. And if you look throughout the tri-state area and look at New York City, you see a lot of these vehicles just parked up, abandoned in the middle of the roadway. Major digging, you couldn't, was stopped. Look at the Belt Parkway, major flooding throughout New York City. Look in Queens, in Jamaica, 2 individuals passed away, flooded in their basement. And when I saw torrential rain such as that, it reminded me of Hurricane Sandy and aftermath. And people are still recovering from Hurricane Sandy. It was back in, I think, October of 2012, late October 2012. So we are truly blessed, and success is not only indicated in your accomplishments, but success is manifested through your faith and belief in God, and things like this too shall pass. But it just shows you how Mother Nature, God's creation, can truly have an impact on us. So we can't take it for granted. We truly can't take it for granted. So
That is true.
thank God some of us recovered from the storm, but
a lot of people were impacted.
yeah.
Last night, not only in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, and Connecticut and other tri-state area. Just grateful to, like you said, to be alive and also to be safe, because many people actually are their day changed from yesterday to today. So just being able to be in the right state of mind is something to be grateful about. And For those who were impacted by yesterday's event, we're praying for you. Whatever way we can send support or whatever information we have in regards to supporting you all, it will be on the website and we will share it along with you. And some of our guests today might be able to share some of the ways that they can impact and support along the way. So thank you for joining us.
Yep.
And
Thank you for joining us. Now let's get to the business of the villagers. So what's going on? We see some comments. Sophia, thank you. We welcome you, Sophia.
Simone.
Simone. Who else? Come on, villagers. Let's get on.
Naila.
On the show, villagers. Naima. How you doing, Naima?
Naila.
Yeah. We want to hear what you think success is. We also want to know, how did you fare in all of this inclement weather that happened yesterday? So come on in, call in, and let's talk about different topics. And one of the topics I want to talk about is the uptick again in the Delta variant, the vaccinations, or what's going on, where we're at. The school is about ready to open up, and I know some teachers have went back to school already. So what's going on with Doc? Since I know you are the premier educator on this show, I want to hear from you. What are your points of views with this whole vaccination, school, and children? What's going on here? About Afghanistan, I talked about the schools.
It's a scary time right now because just when everyone thought that we were getting rid of this virus, it comes right back again, and this time it affects our younger people more than anything. Children going into school, especially those in Florida and Texas. I know that a couple of states, they mentioned like a couple of states shut down their schools. So school haven't been
states. Look what's going on in Jamaica. Another 6-day lockdown.
in Jamaica.
Yeah, another 6-day lockdown in Jamaica.
So it's going to be interesting to follow how everything transpire the next couple of weeks. They canceled Labor Day, which
let's talk
which
about
is
that.
no. That's kind of, listen. It's kind of a good thing that they cancel, especially with the virus going up. I don't know. I don't want to feel as though we're going backwards, but it feels as though we're going backwards. Even
okay, now we're gonna get a little controversy, Doc.
oh Lord,
that's what I'm talking about.
oh Lord,
getting vaccinated. I mean, it feels like we're standing in place, or we're backpedaling, we're backsliding. When your mama says, "Yo, stop backsliding, young man," stop backsliding. You're moving forward, but you're moving backwards. So it likes we're backsliding here. People don't want to get, this whole vaccination controversy, what shouldn't be a controversy. People don't want to get tested. So what's going on?
Well, here's the thing. Even those who are vaccinated are getting the virus again.
Yes, but not in the numbers that would have existed for those who are not vaccinated. So, I mean, of course, you're going to have a couple of people who are vaccinated going to get it. But what about the majority of the people who aren't vaccinated? They are very susceptible to getting this, and also the severe impact of it.
Mm-hmm. And also our youngest who are not eligible to get vaccinated. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
You know what? But that's not an answer. That's not an answer, meaning that we don't know what to do. Because we can do that, because we're not in position to make those decisions. But those who are in positions, they need to have that decision. And a lot of our listeners, they're they don't feel this. They feel they're still in limbo, with respect to this. That's why it's so important that we try to abide by the protocols. Wear your mask, social distancing, wash your hands. What I have seen since the city has opened up, especially in our communities, our villagers, I see all these parties going on. Oh man, there was a party last week on Sunday in Coney Island. I mean, you saw hordes of people, no mask, nothing.
And what do you think's gonna happen? They're gonna blame it on the unvaccinated. We don't know if they were vaccinated, so it's to be determined.
Because they're not checking. These people are not. If you're going to have a crowd, you're supposed to either get vaccinated, or if you're not vaccinated, you have to show your testing. It's like a good friend of mine, Mr. Philbert Giddings. He has a show, a fashion show, Diana Fashion Show, this Sunday at the golf course. It's from 6 to 11 p.m., from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. And what he has been promoting is, he's saying those who want to attend this fashion show, either you have to present a vaccination card, or you have to present proof of testing. If you don't present that, you can't come into these events. And it's, I want to commend him for what he's doing, and Miss Sybil Chester for what they're doing, because it puts people on notice. Start getting vaccinated or tested. This is serious, and this is the new norm for us, and this is what needs to happen. But you got all these events, going on that people are not adhering to. Even the whole restaurant situation. Although it does not go into full force and effect until sometime in a couple of days. I think 11 days now. However, restaurants should be, and those facilities should be getting used to requesting, show me your vaccination card or show me proof that you have been tested. And a couple of restaurants I've been in, to Doc, and there's a restaurant on Evans Avenue we went to, and no protocol.
Oh, hold on. Simone said something. Jamaica needs to be locked down for a whole month. I'm Jamaican, and they are too unruly. Who gets up at 7 a.m. and on weekday to a party?
Party. Simone, you forget. I bet you used to do that, Simone.
You know what?
Simone. You was out there partying.
People are busy partying, like she said.
Come on, Simone.
People are busy partying. Could that be the reason why our numbers are going up?
That could be.
Like you said, a crowd of people actually asked for the Labor Day parade being canceled. This is pure bias. They allow the gay parade and a couple others.
Well, Doc, I'll let you touch that.
I'm not touching that. Listen, I am not the mayor. I do not get paid like he does.
I'm falling back on that one.
Yes. I will.
On that one. You hear Andre saying, "Don't fall back." I'm falling back on that one.
Well, let me ask.
Like I say,
it could be that the numbers are going higher. It could be that the numbers are going higher from the time that they had those parades. So that could be the reason why they decided to cancel the Labor Day parade. And in fact, our Labor Day parade is, we have people from all over. It's a bigger event.
I love
a much more massive event.
Your politically correct answer, because during that period of time, it could have been the numbers were decreasing. That's why the parades went on. And I see nothing. That was then. This is now, and there is some truth to that.
Marie.
Now I'll
Yes, but you know what? Our parade take up. Okay, so let's look at the different parades that have been taking place. I would say ours take a whole portion of Brooklyn compared to a smaller portion of Manhattan, maybe, or a smaller portion of wherever else they decide to have it. but we take over Brooklyn completely. And it's not just one day parade. We have the Juve, we have pre, post. So it's
Carnival start from tonight.
so it
Start
could
from
be
tonight.
because they know how us Caribbean folks like to party. Like
That's why
Simone
I'm
says, from
focusing on
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. to the next 7 a.m. So it could be that they're looking. What is the program about? Oh, okay. Mr. Sampson, can you tell people about the village and who we are?
Well, basically, villages, we come straight to the village. We provide the information, what's going on in the communities. We talk about community events. We talk about worldly issues, international issues. We want our villagers to be informed. So on major topics, it's like the hot topics, what's going on. It's about the variant. It talks about the pullout of our troops in Afghanistan, ending one of the longest wars. These are issues that we talk about. We talk about local issues. Just the appointment of the second African American as lieutenant governor. Things like that. Things that really have an impact and play. I always say all politics is local. So I like to bring it down to the people, talk to the people, and find out what do they want to hear. But most of all, I want us to be able to inform our villagers as to the issues that truly impact them on a day-to-day basis. It's all about empowerment.
Yes.
It's all about development. And
Yes.
we are dedicated to empowering the community so you can have a healthy, safe, and financially capable life. We can do all of that. And we can do all of that by providing our villagers with information. The biggest thing that really plagues our communities is the lack of information that is disseminated in our communities. There's a whole bunch of negative information, but what about the positive information, the role models that the people are doing on a day-to-day basis? Give them some hope, give them some faith, some encouragement to let them know just because you may have been born in poverty does not mean you have to stay in poverty. There's so many examples of people that succeeded, and we want to hear that. So that's what the village is all about. So hopefully you stay tuned and continue to watch the village.
Okay, someone brought up. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you handle that. Go ahead, Doc.
No. Simone actually brought up a couple of different. The parade is off, but the children carnival is keeping. But you're not allowed to be a part of it if you're yet vaccinated. Simone, actually, can you go back, Andre, to Simone? She had two comments prior. The one before this one. Come on, people are getting ready for work and people getting up to party. Okay. She also mentioned, I'm not going to go back to that, but here is I think one of the concerns that's coming up. Yes, our Labor Day parade is one of the biggest events that we have year round besides New Year event. In addition, we have people from all different states countries all over come and participate in our parade. There's been an uptick of COVID altogether from the different states. So here it is. I have a group of people coming from Florida who many of them actually might have the virus, or you have people from Virginia, people from New York, everybody getting together to just go and party and celebrate our culture. Yes, we do want to celebrate our culture, but we want to be safe. And when we all gather together and it's going up and up and up, we cause a bigger disaster.
Doc, hold tight. Up, everything go up like Carly B, like Carly B song. Up, get it up, whatever the up. But they always say it's up. My thing is the data, the numbers, the statistics to prove that these numbers are going up. We hear them all the time. Give me some background, some support. That's why we're lucky to have on the show Miss Sandi. It's all about technologies, the STEM, it's data. We don't want to be left behind because everything's based upon data, analytics. Everything's analytics, and data. You know what I'm saying, Doc? And you know that because
And to top it off, I want to find out more because since Moderna and Pfizer use new technology to create the vaccine, I
Yes.
wonder what could that be part of the reason why the numbers are going up?
You know what, Doc? I would agree, but we keep talking about numbers, statistics, analytics, and that's what it's all about. And that's why it's so important that we talk about the STEM program and what's going on because it seems to me everything, our decisions are being driven by data. And it's important when you think about this whole concept about data that women comprise 29% of the STEM workforce and 52% of the college educated workforce. The number of women in board positions in STEM in these industries since 2020 has substantially increased. So it's all about the data, technology, what's going on. And at this point in time, I would like to bring on Sandi. Sandi, I want to talk to us about this data. Talk to us about it. We need to know what's going on. I'm technology challenged. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah.
the doc talk about numbers. I'm like, where the numbers at? Where the numbers at? Sandi, talk to us, please.
hi, Miss Sandy. How are you?
Really?
Oh, so grateful to be here and to be on this platform and talk about, bits and pieces of technology and help in any capacity that I can.
Great.
Great, great. Doc, take over.
All right, Miss Sandy. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, so I graduated from SUNY Geneseo in 2017. I had a concentration in the healthcare field. I was like bouncing between medicine and pharmacy. Um, and after a year of bouncing around, I decided to kind of break away from the healthcare aspect of things and getting to technology because, we've been talking about data analytics, like these fields are very high in demand and they're also very high paying. And I had some loans
About the Benjamins. That's what we're talking about, Sandi. Ah!
and I had some loans that I had to take care of because Sally Mae was tired of me. And so
You mean they were tired of the deferments? That's what we're talking about, right?
yeah, in the deferments, I was
No
also
wrong with
tired of
that.
deferring things. And so I took an interest in technology. I did all the requirements that were required for that field, and within a year, I landed a job as a software engineer. So kind of a quick snippet, and I know we're going to get into it, but that's essentially a bit about me.
Okay. Okay. So were you, I'm hearing it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Andre, what's going on, man? Our producer here. Our producer here is messing up. We're gonna have to get a new producer, y'all.
Good. He put a headset on.
It might be the host. Oh, you see, blaming on the host. Oh, you blaming on Doc. You see, Doc? He said blaming on you.
It's not me.
It's
So,
me.
so Sandi, I think is that you, Sandi?
Maybe. Let me put a headset in and let's see. Let me see.
Oops.
Is this better?
Oh, much better, Sandi. It's all you, Sandi.
Oh, it's me. Okay.
All you, Sandi. See that?
I'm sorry. I should have had this on the beginning.
Technology.
Good thing I had it around.
That technology.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the impact of STEM or these analytics, this data has really transformed the way information is disseminated. The way information is disseminated.
I think it's a huge impact. I mean, with every generation, there's some new innovation introduced, and we're really in the technology era. You could see with how like iPhones have been pushing out. They're having like all these models every year. You can see with with the talk about like self-driving cars from Elon Musk. You see, there's just so many things that are happening, and I feel like a lot of us have to get into it, whether it's reading about data analytics, whether it's reading about machine learning, AI, that's a huge buzzword, I just definitely feel like technology is not going anywhere. It's
When you
here to
talk about
stay.
AI, what do you mean by, our listeners?
And that's artificial
What's
intelligence.
that all about? What's artificial and what's intelligence? Tell me about that.
What's artificial and what's intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's basically, uh, I don't know what the scientific term is, but in a nutshell, it's something that is supposed to emulate human intelligence. So
You ain't hold on. You ain't talking about cloning now, are you?
no, no, it's not cloning. I mean, there are some robots, but these robots do like it's supposed to make our lives easier. So like even if when you're sending emails and you don't want to think about a response, you can see like an auto-generated response, or sometimes it's filling out your sentences for you. That's kind of a form of AI. You can think about when you listen to Spotify and you're trying to find a new playlist, you have those recommendations. Recommendation engines are also forms of AI. So there are like less technical things of AI and then more technical things like self-driving cars, a car driving for you. That's a very highly technical example of how AI works.
I
So it's
ain't
like
gonna have no car
different
driving for me.
sides of the spectrum. You said you won't do it?
I ain't got no car driving for me. No way. I don't understand. I just don't understand that. I would feel so nervous with a car driving.
What's
You
wrong
know what
with that?
I'm saying? Shoot. Hey, Doc, all right,
What's
Doc.
wrong with that?
What's wrong
There's
with
nothing wrong with that. Like similar to it's I would call it more like not navigation, but you know when you're cruise control. So somewhat, right? Would you say cruise control? Because
when
the car
I
essentially
can grab that wheel and say, yo,
exactly. So the same
in
thing
that
with car
AI, now you
driving you
can't
through.
grab that wheel. The car driving like this, you sitting in the passenger side like this, and the
But
car.
you can intervene. You can actually jump in and control it, even if the
It
car is
might be too
driving.
late.
Question for you, Sandy.
Mhm.
Did you stay in the medical field with technology or no? Did you merge
No, I didn't. I actually switched
completely?
industries. I did. So I actually wanted to break into tech with the concentration in healthcare, but
Okay.
I just wasn't getting the job in healthcare. So I had to temporarily leave and go to where the Benjamin's at and go to the finance industry.
Do you miss not mixing the two or not having the opportunity to mix the two? Maybe you would have been part of our group of scientists involved in engineering this virus. Do you miss that opportunity?
I actually don't miss the opportunity. I
Oh.
think it's because a huge part of my decision in
Hey,
this,
Sandy, one
yes.
thing we know you're not responsible for engineering this virus. We just want
They
to make
say
sure,
engineer the
ladies and
virus. That's
gentlemen,
the
of the village,
solution.
we just want to make sure that Sandy and the government, United States government, Sandy had no input in
Absolutely
engineering
none.
this virus. The Wuhan in China, please, just want to make that clear. That's the disclaimer. Go ahead, Sandy.
Thank you,
that
John.
was that was very helpful to note, so no one comes to get me. But I don't miss it. I think it's because part of my reasoning for being in healthcare in the first place was my parents' decision.
Okay.
Um, they wanted me to be a doctor,
Wait,
and
are you
I was,
Caribbean?
huh?
Let's
I'm
are you
not. I'm Nigerian. It's kind of close. I
Caribbean and Nigerian parents? Yes.
Yes, yes. So I basically had the options, whether it be either lawyer, doctor, engineer, and I was trying to make the doctor path work for so long. And I just had to break the news to them when I graduated. I was like, you know what? I don't know if the healthcare path is for me, but I will try engineering and see what I can do there. And so that's also a reason why I kind of broke into tech too.
Well, I mean, you know what? We're glad that you broke into tech.
Yes.
But man, if you were in tech and healthcare,
I know, I know. It's not too late.
you
I
would be
mean,
seeing a lot of Benjamins. A lot of Benjamins.
yeah.
I'm just saying that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not always about the Benjamin. It's all about just giving back to your community.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
enjoying what you do.
And enjoying
And
what you
enjoying
do.
what you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I enjoy doing nothing, and I try to do nothing. You know.
Pay him no mind.
I find it so hard to believe being one of the hosts on this awesome platform. can't do nothing and be on, a host on this platform.
Sandy, do you find yourself to be the only female in certain realms of technology?
Yes, I do find myself to be one of the few females, and then one of like the only Black females at that.
There you go.
Uh, yeah, and unfortunately, it's not really something new because even when I was in healthcare, I felt the same thing. I went to PWI, which, if no one really knows that, it's the predominantly white institute. So yeah, I that's another,
PWI?
yeah, predominantly white institute.
Was that, is that an institute like that, or that's just
Yeah.
Yeah,
what?
I
What's that?
know they. Yeah, when I was at I did an internship at Howard, which is HBCUs, and basically, if it's not an HBCU, it's a PWI.
Hey,
Oh,
but you noticed, if you noticed that a lot of historically Black colleges, uh, they have been getting a lot of support. Kudos goes out to um, Miss former Miss Bezos, the money she has contributed to, and all the other people have contributed to. Also, Miss Gates, she has contributed a tremendous amount of money to these HBCUs, where these kids are graduating with zero debt, zero
awesome.
debt.
Oh, that's
You know,
amazing.
zero debt. When I say zero, I mean like goose egg debt.
Oh, that's really good because I
That's
know their tuition is very
not
high.
right. A couple of billionaires actually stepped in for the historical Black Institutes Morehouse that paid off a couple of tuitions.
Yep.
So, continue to spread the love, guys. Billionaires continue to spread the love, pay off these young people's debt. 'Cause
Yep.
they need new beginnings when they graduate.
Shout out to the president. I'm waiting for my check though. I'm waiting for my. I know the president said they were gonna, pay back some loans.
Do not hold your breath.
Waiting for mine.
We all waiting for a little check there. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
those unemployment benefits stop on September 4th. So no more additional $300 for those. So workforce, hey, get off your butts, y'all. Let's get back to work.
Get right on it.
So, Sandy, what did your parents say when you decided to tell them, hey, I don't want to be in the medical field? And what caused you to say, this is not it for me?
That's such a good question. Which one should I tackle first? I'll do the parent one first. So when I told my mom that I wasn't going to do anything in the healthcare field, she was very torn about it
Hmm.
because when I graduated from Geneseo, I did have an internship at Howard. And Howard, I did a pharmacy program there, and I basically made great connections. So the following year, I could have enrolled in their pharmacy school. And they were so set on me going to Howard and going to the pharmacy school just for me to say, actually, I'm going to try to break into tech. I have no path of doing so, but I'm going to figure it out. She just did not like that at all. Um, and but I had to remind her and myself that you're not the one doing the work. It's me that's going to have to do the work. I have to be joyous about what I'm doing day in and day out. And I knew at the end of the day, my mom just wanted me to be happy. My mom was more so turned as opposed to my dad. My dad tends to support me. My mom, no, she really wanted me to be a pharmacist. But I knew at the end of the day, she wanted me to be happy with what I was doing. She just wanted me to be successful. So I figured if I was successful in the tech industry, she'd eventually forgive me. Um, and the reason why I decided to break into tech as opposed to doing the healthcare route was because as much as I loved Howard, I didn't really like I didn't fall in love with the program they had there. I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the people, the staff, the environment, but I didn't have a passion of pharmacy. And on top of that, their tuition was an arm and a leg every semester. It was like 30K per semester, which is 60K a year. And I was just thinking, do I want to put myself in so much debt knowing that I'm not passionate about this field. So it really came down to finances for me as well that played a part. And then when I started thinking about technology, since it's such a high in demand field, there are opportunities for people to break in and not pay a dime to get started or enroll. So when I started doing my research, I found like this 6 month boot camp program, which allowed me to learn the technology, like the basics of technology, and enough information to land a job, a high paying job, at
Mhm.
the end of the 6 months. And I didn't have to pay a dime for it. So as opposed to going to do like a pharmacy program where I'd pay 60K a year, or doing this tech program where I pay nothing and also get a high paying job, I decided to just switch careers and
Randy,
do
we
the
call
tech
that you made a
route.
business decision at that
I
point.
made I made a business decision.
Made a business
I
decision and it
did.
shows you are in the correct field of your choice. You made a business decision based upon you looked at the pros, you looked at the cons, you
Yep.
looked at the debt that I may incur myself in a profession that I may not be so enthusiastic about, and I looked at a profession in which, you know what, let me inquire more about it. Maybe I can be innovative, creative, and at some point in time make a whole lot of money. You know what I But you
Yes.
know
Yep.
what? Money, hold on, as they say, the root of all evil is the love of money. You know, the love of money. They say the root of all evil. What is it? What is it, Doc?
The root of all evil. The money is the root of all evil.
Money
That's
is
what it is.
the love of money is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
You like money, you can enjoy it, but when you
So,
fall in love with it, it's just your main focus and concentration, you will always make a bad decision. You know,
mm-hmm.
that decision was purely business decision, but you found your calling because you weighed the pros and the cons. At that point in time, it just shows your characteristic, your business acumen at that point in time. And you look at any that's how you got to explain it to your parents, because we all parents are, you know, Caribbean parents, and why don't you be doctor? You're not lawyer. You, if you ain't doing nothing, you're getting out my house.
Yep.
And it's always professional. They say, what you every time they get together, the parents get together. What your son doing? What your daughter doing? Where they at the university. But there's a lot of pressure that's put on us.
yes.
Everybody is not. Everybody cannot. Everybody's not academically inclined. Take the vocational route. But I think at the end of the day, you made a decision that was best for you, and I know you're going to be productive. It's not about so much money. It's about your innovative and your creative skills. I
Right.
look at the Bill Gates and the way they started. This is how it's all about your love and your interest in technology. And the next thing you know, boom, we're looking at you on the Forbes list. And we say, Sandy, dang, Sandy's a billionaire at the age of 30.
Wait, wait, wait. We need to find out. One of our listeners asked, please, Tawana, thank you, and thank you, thank you, thank you. It's nice to see you again. How did you get into it? They want to find out about the camp. Talk about it. How are you empowering other people to get into the same field? What are you doing?
uh yes,
How did you get
so
into it?
I do have, like, on my Instagram, I do frequently post like tips and tricks and answer anyone's questions about how to break into tech. I tend I Me figuring out the path wasn't linear, so I try to make that very crystal clear for anyone else who's trying to break in, especially for women of color, because we make up 3% of the tech field, and I'm definitely here for increasing the representation in the tech field, especially for women of color. Um, how I found out about how I found out about the boot camp, actually, I was just very, very proactive about it, and I googled boot camps for underrepresented people, or boot
Um,
camps for minorities. I knew that since there was such a few percentage of women in tech, and women are minority, and black women are even, when you search that, it's even smaller number. I knew there had to be some initiative program for helping people break into tech. So when I found that, I found this boot camp called Perscolis that partners with a very big, well-known boot camp, And essentially through Perscolis, it's a nonprofit that receives grants to sponsor individuals to learn how to break into tech.
Wow.
So that's how I found out about the boot camp.
And you know what? You are the epitome of why we have this program, to provide information like that for some of our villagers who may be interested in entering the tech world, getting into that 6-month boot camp. So if you can just basically repeat that again, so our producer Andre can get all that information, and we can provide it on the screen to our people at the village. Come on, Andre, you slow today. What's going on? Yeah. Oh,
Oh, he has it already.
You got it. Let me ask you,
Yay!
how long have you been in the tech field? Because then we're gonna exchange conversation in regards to that.
Sorry, I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
You said how long have I been in the tech field?
Yeah. How long? You worked in
well,
the tech.
I make 2 years in November.
Okay. So I'm gonna exchange something. Before I became an educator, I actually was working in the tech field, and I was the only Black, the youngest one, and the only female. So only Black, youngest, only female at Goldman Sachs. And yes, and I actually learned.
yo, that was money right there.
Yeah, that was. They're right across the street from Amex.
Yes, I was in the gate and heart of everything. I was supporting everyone from all over the world, and I mainly worked 3 or 4 days. I think 3 days, 3 or 4 days, and 12 hours. So it was a great field. I had a limo to go home. I had food, the whole shebang. Living the life as a young person in my 20s.
Man, say, how do you say Benjamin? Spell it, Benjamin. Get Doc.
I actually got into the tech field by teaching myself how to code. So I taught myself Unix during that time. So very few people knew how to actually code during this time. So now that it's become a more popular thing, I would tell any kids, hey, go into technology similar to you, but at least they have a boot camp that you can actually learn how to do it. I actually took out a book and was like, okay, let me wipe out this computer, let me recode and whatever, and took an exam and passed it. And I couldn't believe it because I came across other people who went to school for this, but if you're passionate about something, you will make the best out of it. And I stayed there for 2 years. And then I said, okay, I want to get back into education. It was great, but after a while you get bored, and I'm in the career field similar to you, switch around, that I want to be in because I wanted to impact more people. So, very interesting.
Wow, I didn't know you also were in the tech space. That's
yes,
pretty cool.
only female, only Black, and the youngest one. It was difficult because you know what, you're judged.
Yes.
Your judge, hey, she's coming in, she's taking over our job, she's competing with someone who's making the same amount of money, this 20-something-year-old young lady, and then you have a 50-year-old man, you're making the same money. And who are you being the only Black? So it is something to be proud of. It is something that at the end they will respect you, to hold your own. And I encourage you to keep going, keep encouraging more Black females to go and strive towards the technology field.
Man, between the Doc and Sandy, man, let me hold some Benjamins. Come on. Let me hold something, y'all. Let me hold something. Come on, let me hold something.
You're funny.
It's amazing that you look at a lot of these. I look at the Forbes list. You see a lot of individuals have become extremely wealthy through technology, creating innovative. But technology has far advanced our lives. But my dad would always, when we go to the bank, my dad would go, my father didn't want me, rest in peace. I ain't want a bank card. Give me my bank book. Let me go to the bank so I can see my money. I don't want to call on the phone. I don't want to, I want to see. But our parents are old school, and this technology stuff is really, it's really difficult for them to navigate. And it ain't nothing like seeing something in black and white. Next thing you know, you see something on the computer. Next thing is gone and vanished, like the bitcoins. Like bitcoins.
Yeah.
Things like that. The technology. So technology is ever evolving, changing. So we have people like Sandy who's gonna make sure that we stay up on it and provide our villagers with the information that's needed. You know. So Sandy, any parting words for our villagers? Who are interested in this tech field? What would you say? Villagers, this is Sandy talking to you now.
Yeah. So my word of advice is if you're interested in breaking into tech, I encourage you to do intensive research. Make sure when you're searching up boot camps, you put for people of color, for women of color, or whatever you identify with. Make sure you put those keywords when you're searching in Google. There is this great platform called LinkedIn Learning. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it is $39.95 a month. But if you are in the New York City area and you do have a library card, you can access all of their courses for free. That's also how I started learning. I did a boot camp, but I also use LinkedIn Learning to do their free courses. How you can connect with me, you can reach out to me. I could give Andre my email and he can post it here. You could also find me on Instagram, The Natural Techie. My
Oh,
name on Facebook is Sandy Desiree, so you could also add me on Facebook. I would love to connect and be in communication with you all. Oh, he has it, but it's two L's. The natural two L's Techie on Instagram. But yeah, I just think you should be very proactive on your search, and also don't hesitate to go to any tech meetups or tech conferences. I think that's also a great way to get your foot in the door and network with like-minded people.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when we talked about technology and stuff, they would call us the nerds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They call us the nerds. But the nerds are winning now. Ha ha ha! Winning big time.
yes.
So
Yes.
nerd Benjamins.
Listen, we're so proud of you of what you're doing, making an impact in the technology field. Please, 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 we have to bring you back on to see how many other Black females you brought along. Not only Black, but other females you brought along in the tech field. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you. Please do not be we want you back. We want you
Sandy,
back.
welcome.
Yes.
We look forward to having you back, Sandy. All right.
All right. It's my pleasure. Definitely would want to be here again.
And you know what? Thanks, Sandy. And at this
Yeah.
time of
Thanks.
villagers, we have a great opportunity to introduce a young man who came from the financial world, entered the world of politics from the village of Harlem, and now another villager from Harlem has been appointed as the lieutenant governor of the state of New York. Someone who has, as we would always say, as they always say about me, has Guyanese parentage.
Oh boy.
Hey, back up, Doc. Back up, back up. So we, at this point in time, we want to introduce to some, but introduce to everyone, the Lieutenant Governor, former state senator, but the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York, Mr. Benjamin. Mr. Benjamin, welcome to the
Oh,
village.
Oh.
it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Brother Sampson, whenever you bring up the Guyanese origins, my mom gets excited. So I just want to thank you for that. And by the way, so I was born in Harlem, and then moved to Brooklyn. I spent my formative years in Star City, right in your neck of the woods.
That's my
Uh,
neck of the woods, man. I represented that for about 18 years, Starrett City, man.
Absolutely, I know.
Starrett City.
So thank you, man. Thank you for your service. I hear so much about you in the Senate. So I know we didn't get to serve at the same time, but I respect you and the work that you've done.
I appreciate it, man. You're doing great work, man.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. It's been a whirlwind. I'll tell you right now. You know how this goes. When I started getting vetted, I had to keep it quiet because you can't you can't put the stuff on the street.
Of course.
And I'm like, what's going on? And when they finish vetting you so tired by the time they tell you it's you like you still getting through all of that. But no, it's been an amazing experience so far, and everyone's been so kind and gracious. A lot of my colleagues, I learned so much in the Center over the last 4 years. I was born in Harlem, but grew up in Brooklyn and Queens.
All right.
And went to Brown undergrad, Harvard Business School, and then afterwards spent some years doing investment banking at Morgan Stanley before getting into building affordable housing at a minority-owned firm with a friend of mine from business school, and really was able to build low-income affordable housing for the formerly homeless, and rehab existing units, working with churches to really do kind of like urban community redevelopment. And I joined my local community board, and really, sort of was like deep in the community. And when Congressman Rangel retired, I sort of a chain reaction of events that led to an open state Senate seat. And I was fortunate enough to, in 2017, become state senator. So it's just been, from that moment till now, so much has happened. First we were in the minority in 2017, and then the year later we're in the majority. Here we are with this. So I'm just here for the ride and just
enjoy,
man,
like a Lieutenant Governor. Enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride. Do what you can. You have a lot of work ahead of you, and we pray that you get another 4 years. As
amen to that.
So one of the biggest things that has been coming at us is this whole Delta variant, and also I know the Governor Hochul just implemented the mandatory, I think, vaccination. If you want to go into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So she implemented a mandatory mask mandate,
okay,
where everyone has to wear masks in New York. She also implemented a mandatory requirement for workers in the schools, staff in the schools, to get mandatory weekly testing if they're not vaccinated. So, really want to make sure that our kids are safe. I have a 2.5-year-old who she is, going to school starting next week. She's starting in her program, and I want her to be safe. I want all the kids in New York to be safe. And especially since our kids 12 and under can't get vaccinated, or at least, that's not in the cards yet, we want to do everything we can, because, by spring of next year, I want to be out of this, right?
Yeah.
And what I for sure do not want to happen, and what I'm sure no one else wants to happen, we do not want a scenario where COVID is able to have a mutation that can resist the vaccinations that many of us have had. And that's how these things work and iterate. And so we really need everyone to understand that it's not about you getting the vaccination for yourself. It's about you getting the vaccination for others, for your family, for your friends, for people you don't know, because we all are in the same boat on this. There's I'm rich, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. None of that stuff matters. I'm white, I'm black. COVID does not discriminate, and it will take us all out if we let it. And so it's very important.
Well, and we appreciate that. And another topic that should be geared to all of us, this eviction moratorium. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so she just signed earlier today the eviction moratorium. What we did was we've extended the eviction moratorium that was ending on August 31st. We extended that to January 15th, to January of 2022. And then part of what we had to deal with was that the Supreme Court had said the attestation form, the hardship declaration form, the way in which we passed our law previously was unconstitutional, because we didn't provide due process to the landlords, and there was no requirement for evidence whenever someone provides that declaration, hardship declaration. So the way it worked was, you as a tenant can provide a hardship declaration, and just once you fill out that form, you automatically are given a year of not being subject to eviction.
Mm-hmm.
What the Supreme Court required was that we provide an opportunity for landlords to sort of have due process. Say, wait a second, I contest that, right? And so what we did was we passed in this new law that got signed this morning by Governor Hochul. We added a component where the landlords can sort of state their case if they want to protest the declaration, which we think should pass muster in the courts. But that's going to be sued as well. But in the meantime, tenants are protected till January of next year. But I also want to make sure we do, though, really quickly. I want to make sure that we get the the ERAP money, the money out that we got from the federal government.
Yes.
Because what I don't want is a situation where our small landlords, our local homeowners who are not massive real estate
Hey, Doc,
developers.
that's the Caribbean roots coming out there.
I was just about to ask you, how were they going to help the homeowners who, hey, I have 2-family home and
Absolutely.
I'm out, what's going to happen? This person's not paying and I'm going to get kicked out. The mortgage company's not working with me. So what are they doing to support?
Well, we also have added over $100 million in a hardship fund for landlords who are dealing with this issue where some tenants are not signing the forms or not trying to get the ERAP money, which is really the renters relief money. But in a lot of cases, it's also landlord relief, small landlord relief, because the landlords get the money, and we need to make sure that happens. Now, what my concern is that as long as this COVID continues to extend itself, that we end up in a situation where we need even more money, because the 2.7 billion that we have is not enough. And but one of the things that the Governor Hochul has asked me to do is to be part of an effort to go out and make sure that communities understand that this rent relief money is here. It helps landlords, small landlords, and renters alike. And we need to make sure that everybody is filling out the forms and applying for that money. We got to get that money out. And I believe we're going to then have to go back to Washington, D.C. to get more money just to make sure that everybody is covered. And then at that point, then you can roll off an eviction moratorium, in my view. But it's hard to say, let's allow people to be evicted when we didn't distribute the money. That's kind of not fair. So we got to be fair here. We got to walk and chew gum at the same time. But we need to be concerned about renters who are struggling and the small homeowners who are struggling. Both have to be at top of mind.
Wait. I have a question for you. What is considered small homeowners? Now, what would be your definition of, a 4-family, a 3-family, a 2-family? What would you consider small homeowners?
For me, if you own 10 units or less, to me, that's small. This is Brian Benjamin's definition here. That to me, some people think it should be more, some think it should be less. But I think just as a practical matter, if you have 2 brownstones, right, and you're renting out each unit, you obviously, if you have what I know in Southeast Queens where my parents live, people got, I got the 2-family, I got me here, like those are small homeowners, right? People who might have 4 or 5 units, they live in one, that's a small homeowner. And to me, we need to make sure that they are not being held hostage by bad tenants. We don't want bad tenants or bad landlords being able to make it difficult for everybody else, manipulating and using the COVID crisis to really cause problems for everyone.
Lieutenant Governor, and that is a very, very important issue. And I'm so glad. I think it just shows you understand both sides, because that has always been the biggest thing in Albany. You got people who are the extreme right to the left don't understand that you have small landlords that are right there in the middle that are really getting the brunt and hitting the backs. It's the same thing as just bring a little topic, deviate for 1 second about those in our neck of the woods, those people, those dollar van drivers, those drivers in the insurance that has been playing a role. And right now, some of them are without insurance because one of the insurance providers that they provide insurance to those vehicles is having an issue with, DFS, with respect to that and the litigation going on. And there's a lot of those dollar van drivers, those van drivers who have to put their vehicles up because they don't have the insurance. So hopefully that is something that the you can tackle. You can talk to
Absolutely.
the government about it, because those individuals are the heartbeat of our communities. They provide the nexus where you have those deserts that are void of transportation. You got to make you got to make the transit happy, but we got to look out for them too. So that's just
Let me say something on that,
yeah.
because from the ages of 13 to 17, I could not get to school on time without my brothers from the Dollar Vans community, right? Because waiting for that, if I missed that Q2 that was scheduled, it's a wrap. Because I got to wait another 40 minutes for that Q2. But people were riding by on the Dollar Vans, and I was able to get to work. And by the way, these are small entrepreneurs. People get up early in the morning, right? They get in their cars, they provide a service, and they got to feed their families just like everybody else. And quite frankly, I remember when the because I'm 44, so this was before we had the Metro card where you can like put it in and then you get the transfer. So back in the day, it was cheaper for me to catch the dollar van, pay $1, and then go pay 125, take the F train to 169th Street. Now, not 169th Street, to Kew Gardens. But then it hit a point where I had the Metro card. I was like, well, I love my brothers, but now only if I was really in a jam would I do it, because the Metro card was the free transfer. But here's the bottom line. I've been campaigning. I ran for comptroller and I was unsuccessful, but I'm campaigning, and they're out there. Like, we got to make sure that we don't unnecessarily harm our small entrepreneurs.
You're in a position now where you can raise the voice of those individuals, and this is so important. Understand, there's decisions that are being made by people who don't look like us.
That's exactly right.
Understand our communities, but we're glad that you're there to provide assistance to the governor on and about these issues, because it's just not only about New York City,
right?
About the entire state. We respect that, and but I'm gonna be a little selfish today.
Go ahead.
About New York City, but what we're talking about is the impact. You tell your parents in Southeast Queens, am I correct?
Yes.
And the impact that the flood has had on Southeast Queens, man. Yesterday is like, wow, like what happened?
And here's the thing, I wasn't like, it's like, seriously, what did happen? I wasn't under the impression this thing was gonna come so hard and hit us up here. Over 41 people in the Northeast passed away. I'm still getting the numbers exactly on New York City.
41, what?
41 people in the Northeast. I'm getting the numbers on New York City, but it is really 3.15 inches in 1 hour in Central Park. That's the most ever. So there's something going on with the weather right now. But more importantly, we've got to make sure, we sought the emergency. I'm the governor. Sorry, Governor Hochul sought the emergency declaration from President Biden, which he has granted, which is going to open up a lot of funds. A number of state agencies have been deployed to be of assistance. So the governor is on the case. But Southeast Queens and some of our communities really face the brunt when these hurricanes and storms hit. Storms hit us. We got to be on top of it, and that's the conversation that I am going to be very active on. Congressman Meeks called me and said, "Listen, brother, we need you up there, right?" And these are some of the conversations that I'm going to be very active on to make sure that our communities that where I come from, where I've lived, where my parents live, is my parents' basement that's getting flooded. Okay,
that's another thing. The basement. A lot of people passed away in the basement, so the drainage system is not working correctly.
That's exactly right.
Now I understand why, New York City and New York State really don't want basement apartments, because you get trapped, and that's what happened. A lot of people got trapped and get out.
And I'm half Guyanese, but I'm also half Jamaican, and I'm gonna tell you right now, every Jamaican I know who owns a home, they got someone living in the basement. Right. So that means now when you got here comes the flood, You got where people are living in the basement, an issue. So there's a lot at stake here. And I just can tell you, I am on this like a hawk. I'm going to do everything I can to be a strong voice on behalf of the people who I represent, where I come from, my family. By the way, my cousin called me and said, "Listen, what y'all doing about this flood?" So this is not like I'm not in some ivory tower somewhere, thinking about this intellectually. Like I have family members who live in these communities that are being most impacted, and these are communities that look just like the three of us.
And another topic, which you have had experience in, the affordable housing and this homelessness, and a Democratic mayoral candidate talked about making some of these hotels that are out there, some of these office buildings, converting them to permanent housing. So we're going to need the assistance from the state. He's going to need the assistance from the state to help him do that, so we can deal with that issue of homelessness, and also provide an opportunity for those who are reentering society after being incarcerated, because that's that's another issue. Oh, we got it. Hold on, we got it. We got from Delroy Wright, one of your Jamaican.
Delroy, yes.
He says, "Great job, John, raising the issue of the dollar vans. I have seen some of the most irrational people become dollar van drivers and reform into constructive members of our society. For the most part, people just need an opportunity to earn a living to fit into the greater fabric of society." Thank you very much, Delroy. And that's why you have one of your Jamaican brethren as Lieutenant Governor, half Guyanese. So don't take all the credit, Delroy.
We're 50-50 here.
50-50 here.
The only part he's missing is Haitian.
I know.
You have the Jamaican with Roderick. You have the Guyanese with John. But come on, man.
I know. I'm sorry. It's only but so much room.
You would have been complete. You would have been complete. But it's okay. It's all right.
I mean, that issue, the homelessness issue, those entry issues, those are things that we need help down there. Transforming lives, man. And I haven't seen it. I work for Exodus Transitional Community, and one of the biggest things I've seen is, we up in your neck of the woods in Harlem, and we have
East Harlem,
East Harlem. And one of the issues that I've noticed, that whole mental health piece, man. It is strong, man. It is
very strong. And let me say a couple of things. One is, one of the things I like about Governor Ahoko, when she asked me to join, she's like, "Brian, first of all, she and I have had a great relationship over the last 4 years. That's number one. But number two, she's like, we need to collaborate. We need to work with incoming Mayor Eric Adams. We need to work with the federal government. I'll just say this on the federal government side. We need to work together to solve these critical issues, because at the end of the day, those who are closest to the problem are typically closer to the solution. And when I think about what you talked about with the homeless, on 125th Street, after COVID, man, right? And we have to have creative solutions. I believe we should be able to house those who are homeless. And there's a difference. See, there's also we also have to be nuanced about this. There's a difference because of being homeless because you just can't afford to pay your rent. But guess what? You have a job. There are a number of people who are homeless and working. Some people, when they think homeless, they think it's all about a mental health issue, people on the street. Some of it is some people are homeless because they just can't afford rent. So we have to deal with that as one issue. And then the second issue is how to deal with the mental health issues. Because quite frankly, especially as we are decarcerating, with bail reform, we passed a number of important bills that are reducing incarceration. Rikers Island, if you go there, is borderline a mental health facility. I mean, they have a whole apparatus to give people their meds on time, a whole process for that. When you see it, you say, wait a minute, is this a hospital? But obviously it's not. So now you send those people out, to your point, you send them out, and where's the management? The shelters, they say to them, come the morning, you gotta go. You can come back at night, but you can't stay here.
Right.
So now, if they are on the street, how are we managing that? And so I think there is we have to think comprehensively. There's got to be. It can't just be siloed government. Like, okay, well, my job is to make sure that we have less people in prison. So let me just do that. Whoa, wait. What chain events does that create, and how do we make sure that we protect everybody?
Yes.
Because then you create a situation. If people's quality of life becomes an issue, they're gonna say, wait a minute. We need more police. We need more this. We need more that. Right? And so we don't want to go in the wrong direction, but we do need to make sure we have a quality of life and that everyone is safe. You got to do both.
You are definitely correct, and we would love to invite you over to Exodus to see the program that Mr. Medina has run.
Absolutely,
has used a lot of taking these individuals who are formerly incarcerated, and bringing them in and providing them the wraparound services and transitioning them into permanent housing. So we would love to invite you to come down there so you can see the operation and see how it's run. And we're trying to, hopefully, with the help of your office, with the help of the incoming mayor, to make something permanent. We have created a model. For that at Exodus.
Absolutely.
So I do want to apologize on Roderick Daly's behalf. He wasn't feeling well this evening, so he sent his apologies.
No problem.
And you know,
up already. That's what he was doing. He was jumping up because
you know, you're gonna have to change your name from senator to lieutenant general on your
So I'm glad you brought that up. I am not lieutenant governor yet.
Okay.
So we are doing my swearing in next Thursday morning. And the reason why you'll appreciate this, John, we passed a law not that long, right before the end of session, that requires a 60-day window for any vacancies to be filled.
Okay.
And so what would have happened if I had actually taken the lieutenant governor's job when I got announced, which was originally the plan, by the way, but if I had done that, then it would have triggered a vacancy in my state Senate seat, and the 60-day window of that happens before the November 2nd general election that's naturally occurring. So we would have had to have a special election.
Smart idea with
separate.
The Democrats are liberal behind Democrats. Figures.
So in order to prevent having and by the way, now we have early voting. So you would have to have had early voting and all of that cost. Then almost like a week, like 2 days later, it would have been like the most ridiculous thing in the world. So they need to do a chapter amendment on that bill, just to say, listen,
you're Democrats, or Senate Democrats.
I know, that is on the mind. But yeah. So no, listen. But I will say to you that is, I do commend Governor Hochul for choosing me, because she's from Buffalo. She's from a different part of the state, and I've known her and worked with her. But this is a big deal for her to say, as the first female governor of the state, let me go choose a African American male, right? I mean, she could have done something that was more safe for her, and she didn't. And it really speaks to her heart and speaks to her belief that she really wants diversity at the table, everyone involved, and I'm looking to play that role. And she doesn't want to have that, she doesn't want to have a lieutenant governor who's just like window dressing. She wants a real partner, so I'm really honored to be that.
I'm just saying, Lieutenant Governor, that jury is out on that, because
I know.
I want to see you at the table.
Yep.
I want to see your involvement. She talked about her aunt. She didn't, prior to this whole incident with Cuomo, she hasn't spoken to him in months. My issue with Andrew is another issue. I'll leave that apart.
Yeah, please.
I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get, but let me get into it.
You know what I'm going to ask you about federal grants for COVID deaths. So how do someone go about in applying for the federal grant for some of the deaths that are
So you're talking about as it relates to someone's passed away from
Mm-hmm.
COVID and getting federal. So typically, we reach out we reach out to we reach out to our federal members, right? So
Mm-hmm.
at various congressmen. But Senator Schumer, I can tell you, man, and you know this, John. Senator Schumer is something else. We should go to Senator Schumer's office and he will definitely take care of you and make sure that his team is top notch. He has a great constituent service team, and they
Or
will
even
be
your
there.
your congressperson in your district should be able
Oh,
to.
of course, that's true too. Without question, I was just saying, since everyone's got different districts, we have two senators. I know Senator Schumer well, so that's what I'm saying. But yes, any federal member, my member is Espaillat. Everyone's got different federal members. Your federal member should definitely be able to be of assistance on that.
Hey, you were super cool meeting you at the Harlem event. I
Thank
know
you.
you are going to do great things. Now let's hear some of your plans. What
Oh,
do you
sure.
intend to do? So let
So
us know.
a couple things. One is New York City public housing. The governor has said to me, look. By the way, I represent the most public housing of any senator in the state. One of the things that I really want to make sure is that we have coordinated conversations around how we're going to deal with the issue. There's about $40 billion of capital needs across the entire portfolio in New York City. Uh, it's only going to get worse. And here's my thing. I'm not trying to be part of a tear down operation of public housing. So if we're not going to do that, we do need to have a very sort of rational approach to this. And I believe the first order of business is get the federal, the city, the state, and HUD as part of the federal. Get us all in the same room. Now, don't have a blueprint plan over here, a RAD plan over here. The tenants want home ownership over there. Let's put everyone at the same table. Kind of go through the list of issues, which are vast. You got the capital needs issue. You've got the issues around sort of tenants having a basic sort of apartment needs, which you got to wait 2 days to get service. Right. All these kinds of sort of basic fundamental issues. Let's sort of like put that let's put everyone in the same room and figure out an approach and a plan. That to me is the first order of business. The federal government is going to have once this infrastructure plan gets through at least $40 billion. So I mean so at least there'll be most of the money to play with. But once that money comes in, how is it being utilized? How is it being spent? I continue to be bewildered, and I'm sure you feel the same way about this, John. I continue to be bewildered by how much it costs to do basic stuff in the city of New York.
Well, we all know what it is about.
Right.
When you're involving labor,
yeah.
And one of the things that we always seem to fail to do is we need to bring these developers in these conversations.
Yes.
We need to bring the developers in the conversation.
Absolutely.
At the same time, you got to offer them a bone too. We have to make this a collective effort to find a solution with respect to that. They want things, we want things. We can work a deal out. We can make it happen that everybody can be happy and coexist at the same time.
Same time. I agree with
you. We want this constant confusion back and forth. No, we all want the basic things. Everybody wants to be safe, and but hopefully with the new mayor coming in, God willing, Eric is elected because it's not over. He still got to run that general election. So don't fall asleep, villagers. We got to get out there and make sure we support him. But I also want to. A question from Roger always wants to know, how can people get access to foreclosure homes if they would like to purchase them? That's one issue. Those who are interested in purchasing foreclosure homes, that's something that I think that the state should be involved in to get these banks, because these banks have these properties and they give it to these selective brokers who then either take the foreclosure property for themselves instead of giving them out to the community. So I think that's something that hopefully as a lieutenant governor that you can look into.
Absolutely.
And really start questioning what's going on with these properties. You look properties throughout upstate New York, all over New York, the North Country. How can we get people truly to take advantage of what's going on? And it's a collective effort. And I know, put it, and it's a blessing. Sometimes things happen for a reason. It's a blessing that she picked you because you come from the corporate side.
Right.
You have the Caribbean heritage, the African American from Harlem. So, what we call that the cook up. Cook up, man. You know what I'm saying? You got the cook up. You got everything, man. So you got all the tools necessary to be successful, and we're going to make sure you're successful. Not only through shows like The Village, but come down to the communities. You've been down here. Come down here. We can make things happen. We
Absolutely
can really make things happen, and we want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You have a busy schedule. I know everybody's pulling you, but thank you for taking the time to talk about.
I always got to come when Senator Prasad reached out to me. I know that means she was.
She better.
I knew that was a.
She knows she got to produce.
I knew it was a family. I knew it was a family request. So I was like, all right, we're gonna expedite that. We're gonna expedite that.
And we appreciate that. I don't have to tell Roxanne's mother that she ain't doing what she needs to do for me. So I don't want to have to.
Wait. Roderick said you didn't answer the question about foreclosure.
That's because Brother Sampson answered the question, but he's absolutely right. One of the things, to be as a practical matter, though, one of the things I want to be very focused on is issues of ownership, home ownership in our communities. I the TIL program and some of these programs where HDFCs ownership that have gone in the wrong direction, where we've been losing ownership. I want to increase, and so for me, this is something that I'll be looking very closely at, and I want to work with the community on this part. So my view is I will be back with you with some thoughts on this.
Yes.
But I want to make, because that's the real issue, right? Let's
can't afford living in New York no more. We priced out. Come on.
I want more ownership.
People going to Pennsylvania. We got to.
That's right.
All the way.
Affordable home ownership that is funded with taxpayer dollars has to be a priority, and we can't miss the boat here. Like with these HDFCs, where your income has to be low, but you're somehow supposed to be able to afford to buy $400,000, $500,000 condos. Meanwhile, in a lot of those buildings, they have debt issues. So then that means you can't get a loan. You got to pay all cash. Who's got $300,000, $400,000 with no income to put down? Mostly parents who send their kids here, right? And so you've got a lot of hardworking New Yorkers who can't get into HDFCs because their income's too high. They can afford it, but their income's too high. Then you've got people whose incomes are too low and are hardworking, but they can't afford it because the cost is too high. This is set up to marginalize and to undermine Black and brown communities who have been here. It's more of a city issue to some of the, at least the HDFCs, but these are the kinds of things that I am going to be on top of because it is too important to the health of our neighborhoods.
Man, Lieutenant Governor, incoming. You Lieutenant Governor, forget that incoming stuff.
Next week, right? Thursday.
Next week, Thursday. Look forward.
That's right.
And hey, if you're not doing anything this Sunday, we got the Guyana Fashion Show. Roxanne knows all about it at the golf course in Brooklyn. Come through, man. You're gonna have Guyanese people. Gonna be very proud to give you the accolades that you deserve, man. So
Thank you.
If you're not doing nothing Sunday, since we ain't got no Labor Day parade on Monday.
All right, I'm with it.
All right.
Well, I'm not saying I'm with it, meaning I'm coming. I'm with it, meaning I'm gonna talk to Roxanne.
I know, talk to Roxanne. Talk to Roxanne. You right. It's gonna be a family request, so she knows it's coming.
All right, phenomenal. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks again, man. We really appreciate it, Governor Benjamin. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
We are so blessed to have that the Lieutenant Governor on the show this evening, and my kudos goes out to Senator Prasad, who facilitated that. And Senator, we want to thank you. And then, if you didn't do it, I was going to talk to your mother about it. So, so where that goes. Family, man. Family understands family. So it's good to when a family request is granted. So thank you very much, Senator Prasad. At this point in time, we have another special guest.
Yeah,
And let me just bring it on. Renee, where you at, Renee? Come on in, Renee. Renee. Well, Renee's coming on, Miss Kendall, and it's great for her to come on the village. This is our Caribbean legal solutions, and we all need some legal solutions, especially this weekend. We might be getting in a lot of trouble this weekend, so we're going to need that legal assistance.
you will be getting in a lot of trouble.
Oh, stuff. Why did I say that?
So not we, because I'm not part of that. I am not participating in any of that drama fest.
Drama
I'll be
fest.
at home relaxing.
You're gonna be home relaxing?
Home relaxing.
We're gonna be relaxing.
No parade, nothing. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. But this is our celebration of
Our heritage.
Our heritage. So
Right.
you got to come out. Got to represent. At least you got a flag. Where your flag at? Where your flag at? Where your flag at, Doc?
Actually, I don't have a flag.
Oh,
Towel that I don't even do the flag. I do a bigger thing with the whole towel thing with my whole Haitian represent.
Haitian
I
represent.
wrap myself around the wonderful Haitian towel.
Haitian towel, but no, we talking about to be able to wear the towel outside. We don't want you to wear the towel outside. We want representation when you get outside. So
Listen,
that's
listen. Take it down a notch. But we do want to thank our incoming Lieutenant Governor. And yes, it is nice to know that he is of Caribbean heritage. It is nice to know that.
It is, but what? It's what's even better to know that the governor will have him at the table and he will be
Yes.
active, and it's so important. As I always said, it's always great to be at the table.
Yes.
So when decisions are being made, so we can add a different perspective to legislations that really impact our community.
Ooh, we have a shout out to Zona, Miss Luann, Roderick's mom. Today's her birthday, and she's at home taking care of him. So we definitely have to give you a special birthday shout out. Happy birthday. Sorry, Llewellyn, Miss Llewellyn. Thank you and happy birthday.
Shout out, big up, raise your glass, and we want to wish her a happy, healthy. Let me raise my glass. My water bottle. You're big up, and it's nothing. The celebration. It's so. Sometimes it's just so breathtaking, man. To really honor and celebrate people while they're still here.
Yeah, we thank God for you.
We
Such
definitely
a wonderful individual.
thank God for you. Thank God for your family.
Yes.
There's so many positive things. But hey, Doc, you know what I want to talk to you about? What do you think about this whole? We finally ended that 20-year war in Afghanistan.
I am so happy to breathe a sign of relief. That it has come to an end. But
personally, you had some family members who were over there. Am I correct?
Yes, I did. So when I heard that it was done and they left, it's definitely something to say, wow, thank you, Lord. Because just last week we were discussing the attack. And even though we have come to an end with this, it's still scary moments and scary time because September 11th is coming up.
Yes,
So
it is.
Embracing yourself,
Yes.
saying that nothing will come about, So that's my prayer. Like, Lord, let this be a peaceful 20-year anniversary and nothing full of drama or any attack or any retaliation, because we don't need that. We want to be able to breathe the sign of relief, get through the whole COVID issues and move on.
I definitely agree with you about that. We need to, and what bothers me, I shouldn't be, but sometimes these conservative commentators, the way they just go after the president and the decision he
Yeah.
made.
Hmm.
One thing I respect about the president is that he owned it.
Yeah.
He didn't reflect. He didn't say, well, maybe I could have done something different. He made a decision and he executed it. You have to respect that.
He kept his word.
This and it's unfortunate there were lives that were lost because it hurts me. Because I don't think they were no older than 23 years of age. They were in the prime of their lives, and now they're gone, gone. And we all know the risk that once we put on those fatigues, we understand. Once we take that oath
Right.
to represent our country, we know what the risk is. Same thing as police officers who are out here on day to day. So I have to, salute them,
Appreciate them. Yes.
appreciate them for the job that they have done, uh, protecting us,
Right.
giving us that freedom. So you know, you know, stop blaming. Get off the blame game. Get off the blame game. The conservatives and the Democrats. You know what? We have to respect the decision that was made, and you know
He just finished what was started or what was put in place.
exactly. And without further ado, we want to talk to Ms. Renee Kendall, Esquire,
Yes. Yes.
Caribbean Legal
Hi
Solutions.
guys.
Renee, big up.
Oh,
Waiting for you, Renee. What's going on?
Hi, I was just having some technical challenges. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we definitely. I know all about technical challenges all the time.
I was waiting backstage for a while and everything was working until it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here we
We got
are.
a big backstage right here. Yeah. So Renee, you know
Yes,
what?
love
Talk.
your hair.
Oh, love you.
thank you. Thank you.
You ain't tell me you ain't love my hair. Why? What happened? What happened, Doc? One of my chopped liver. Renee, thanks for being on the village. We really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for having me.
and we know that you know you are CLS. Can you tell us about yourself and tell
Sure.
us about CLS?
Thanks. Well, as you know, I am an attorney. I live and practice right here in Brooklyn. No stranger to the show. Love tuning into you guys each Thursday. So thanks for having me. Separate and apart from my practice and my role with the Caribbean Attorneys Network, I manage a company called Caribbean Legal Solutions. And we're essentially a consulting company designed to provide legal services to Caribbean diaspora communities.
Hmm.
We do that by connecting them with legal professionals based right here in New York, sometimes New Jersey, and we have a huge Caribbean population, diaspora population in Florida. And we connect them with attorneys that they need. And sometimes that those needs transcend geographic borders, and we have to connect them with an attorney in their home country, sometimes Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad, just spread throughout. So we set out to put together this network of attorneys. Sort of think of it as our little army, but more of a team. We work together as a team to solve the legal needs, the issues of our clients, pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
I like
Now,
that team. I like that network, a team that you put together to we call your team. The team. I was going, your team. That's what it's all about. So,
Yes,
creating that team, providing an avenue, a network in which we can get that, we can find solutions to sometimes very complicated legal issues, or knowing that we have that support.
right.
So, you know, this is something that is much needed. And
Yes.
is there a model that that we can try to put in place here to help out our villagers? You know what I'm saying? Or what can we do, like the broader realm?
A model. Well, we found that when we,
How did you put it together? Like what can
yeah,
we do to make sure that this model, what your guys put together, how was it put together? How can we make sure that this model stays intact and produces what it has and what it intent on producing?
well, key to our network, key to the company rather, is the team of professionals we work with. We find that we work with people who can anticipate the needs of our clients, are familiar with the needs of our clients, familiar with the geographic areas and the practice areas. So they are trained and prepared to respond to our clients' needs, which tend to be or can be pretty unique since our clients tend to be people who live in one country. So they'll have their domestic legal needs. Anything from landlord tenant to divorce to child custody and child support matters. They'll have those are our domestic needs. But then they'll also be taking care of a relative that lives back home in, say, Guyana, Grenada, Trinidad. They'll be maintaining property there. They may be starting a business there. And many of them are people who are intending to retire in home countries. So we found that their legal needs sort of straddle two jurisdictions, right, where they live and where they have interest. So key to that is putting together this network of attorneys and legal professionals and support team that understand that and are prepared to do so.
And how do you go about recruiting this team?
Well, you will find that, and I don't know what's been your experience, Mr. Sampson Esquire, attorneys know attorneys. I lived and worked in the Caribbean for some time, where I met, plenty of we were law students at the time, and plenty of people who went on to become attorneys that I maintained contact with. And then my own network based here in New York. We are a large affinity group here in New York of Caribbean attorneys. It's not hard to find an attorney with Caribbean heritage. Not that we necessarily focus just on attorneys with Caribbean heritage, but we find that they are uniquely equipped to respond to the needs of our clients. So I haven't had difficulty with finding attorneys to assist, but every now and then it presents challenges.
Now, if I wanted to purchase land, and, for example, in Jamaica, what would I need to do? And how can I come to you? I have no idea. I have no clue. I want to purchase land. Do I need certain things? Or Grenada, I'm seeing some beautiful things in Grenada. Right. So I'm interested in purchasing. So please help me out.
Sure. Well, that is a very common request that we get. The attorneys based in the country where you're looking to purchase the property tend to get involved after you have located the property, but they can be a resource in terms of accessing listings, surveyors, or brokers that can assist you. So someone coming to me who's sort of just getting started in that process, where the attorney can be of use is providing you with access to their network of non-attorneys, but of people who are related and will be involved in purchasing property. Attorneys tend to get involved at the point of where there's a contract, where there's an offer, where there's a contract. We, step in to assist there to ensure that due diligence is done. Make sure that the property you're purchasing is actually belongs to the person who says that they're selling it to you. Ensure that paperwork is correct.
I'm so happy you brought that word up in regards to paperwork being correct and also the property being owned, because there's a lot of parts of the Caribbean that people take over and have no control, like it's the Wild Wild West.
Right.
So what countries are you involved with this legal with the legal solution, and what countries are you not involved with?
So where we're involved tends to be needs driven. So if we have a request for a country that's not already in our network, we go out and seek it. Currently, we have attorneys based in Trinidad, Jamaica, Guyana, I believe Grenada, St. Vincent, And
We're gonna need you in Haiti, baby. We're gonna need you.
yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that, hoping that the area stabilizes
Right.
sometime soon. But even prior to that, need for legal services still exists. So once someone contacts us and they have an interest in a property, they found the property, and they're seeking to get us involved, that's the point at which I would connect you with an attorney who has some familiarity with the practice area, with real estate, for example.
Okay. Do you find that many times that if you're living here, that your property is sometimes stolen back home, or do you come across many of those situations?
Yes, and I can't say that many times your property is stolen, but I do get lots of cases where people believe people to be living on their property, referred to as squatters. It tends to be a common issue. But as I said, the attorneys there are used to dealing with that. I deal with attorneys who have foreign-based clients and clients through our company as well. So it's not uncommon, and they're prepared to handle it.
Okay.
Sounds like you might have dealt with it.
So Renee, how does the community find out about this? What do you advertise, solicit? Because this is very important.
Right.
A lot of people always talk about my aunt. We have property back home. She wants to make sure the property tend to.
Right.
She wants to buy some things. She wants to build. My uncle, how do you inform the general community services that you provide?
Well, one such means is this incredible platform that you guys have been so gracious to extend to us.
That Village's incredible platform. I like that.
Yes. Thank you so very much. We are so appreciative of being here. We are working with the marketing team and seeking to roll out within the next few months. We're going to, obviously, Facebook and Instagram, the normal social media platforms are going to be utilized. But we also want to go into the community and post up our information at your local, Caribbean restaurants and community centers, and even places where I found it to be relevant is I'll walk by and I'll see people on a long line waiting to send money back home, right? Money transfer outlets tend to be catchment area for us. For people, if they're sending money back home, they're maintaining ties back home. They're taking care of something. They're taking care of people, of property. Those tend to be good clients for us. And really, we simply just tell people that we exist, and we find that it's not as if we even have to sell the idea. They're sort of like, yes, I'm glad that this exists. I need something like this. So key to this is getting the word out.
Wait,
newspapers.
You said that, getting the word out.
Yes.
Please, before you what is the services? Because I know we have some who miss in the beginning,
sure.
like our Roderick. So please repeat what it is you want people to know about you. What do you offer in the Caribbean? Because he wants to know.
Okay. So okay. So in the Caribbean specifically, well, really in all places, right? What we offer our clients is a connection to a legal professional based on what your legal needs might be. And you come to us and you tell us you have a landlord-tenant issue, right? We're going to connect you with an attorney to address that right here in New York or New Jersey, wherever it might be. You come to us and you tell us you have unfortunately, somebody might have passed away. They left a home. The details, the title for the home needs to be worked out. We are going to connect you with a legal professional that will, walk you through that process. Many of our clients, especially post-COVID, can't travel, right? They can't be there to handle matters, and they can't be there for extended periods of time, which, often is what's involved, what's needed with these types of matters. With a company like ours, with getting connected to a legal professional, you have someone who and essentially is empowered to stand in your shoes, to act on your behalf.
Mhm.
And we connect people with professionals that they can trust. They can trust that the work is going to get done. Um, so that's what we offer: connection to legal professionals to resolve your legal matters.
In the United States and
Yes.
in the what? Caribbean.
Caribbean. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Suppose I not come from Caribbean. Suppose I'm from Europe. What about that?
Sure.
What's going on there?
We have already dealt with a client based, for example, in the UK.
Exactly. You know, you got a lot of people
Folks, yeah.
in the UK,
Canada.
Canada.
Yes, yes. So we're not limited to people just located where we're incorporated, where we exist. Um, you know, thank God for technology giving us access to anyone worldwide. The Caribbean diaspora tends to be spread throughout the globe. But the access to legal professionals to address their specific needs is not something that's common. We wanted to create a solution or an alternative to simply using your word of mouth network, because we find that that's what clients do. They either inquire within their own network, or they go online and they Google, um, or use some other search engine. And we wanted to offer an alternative to that. We wanted to offer something where there is a legal professional like myself remaining engaged and involved throughout the process, answering your questions and guiding you in the right direction prior to your internet search.
So you know, Renee, what's interesting is what about those expatriates who want to go back home
Right.
but have their legal affairs and need to be taken care of over here in the States? You know, how can you make that synergy happen with those who need legal services um, abroad?
Right.
How can that happen?
Where would they be located?
Like if I, if I live in New York,
Right.
But then I want to go back to Haiti,
Right.
and I have land and stuff like that in New York.
Oh, okay.
I want to get, I want to negotiate some deals or something like that.
Right.
What I do? I want to come to somebody while I'm in Haiti.
Right.
Say, hey, can you help me while I'm here? Because I don't want to go back to New York. I want to stay here. What can you help me negotiate this deal? Can you provide me the legal support that I want?
Right. So in the context of a case like that, to the extent that you needed legal support or legal assistance, we would connect you with someone in, say, Haiti. And the services aren't limited just to the Caribbean diaspora community. We have had people who live in the Caribbean contact us. An example was a client who lived in, I won't get into the country, but a country in the Caribbean. She had a child with someone who was living here in New York. She went to the courts, went through the court system there in that Caribbean country, and she obtained a child support order. She then needed to have that enforced here in New York, where the father lived. Where does someone like that start, right? There's a process for something like that. How do you get a international court order to have force and effect in another jurisdiction for something as important as, child maintenance or child support, based on the terminology? So for people who have those sort of cross-border legal needs, we are there to address that as well. And that particular request came through an attorney who I think worked on the matter. And he was super grateful that a company like us existed. Prior to us, he'd just been searching online and searching, was sort of making a decision blind, right? How do you know anything about the attorney that you're selecting, and how do you know anything about the process, right?
So, Reggie, that's what I want to know. And I think you answered the question. What was your primary purpose for creating something like this?
Yeah.
To build a bridge between Caribbean communities and the attorneys that serve them, wherever they may be.
Love that.
Love it. Short, simple, and this is
a bridge.
Yes,
a bridge. I like the bridge. It's like the bridge to, it ain't a bridge to nowhere. It's
right.
a bridge to finding definitive answers
right.
to questions that I need answered.
Right.
Saying, no, I can go to this network, this organization that can provide the nexus that is needed for me to get the solution of these issues.
I think that's a good word.
And what about immigration issues?
Well, that's a popular one. So obviously we have a group of immigration attorneys in our network. And it doesn't matter where the person may be. There are people who are in a Caribbean country waiting to migrate and not sure of how to even start the process. We're available for that. And then there are all the people that live here. One of the things we're going to be doing is addressing, and probably through social media, or use a social media platform, is addressing people who have overstayed visas and need to adjust their status, so to speak, and what is that path? What does that path look like? So we're going to be doing a sort of an informational seminar, right, presentation, where we're going to talk to the general public about that process, and then get them connected to an attorney to sort of make an assessment as to whether their particular circumstances is appropriate for an adjustment of status.
So is that your specialty, Renee, or what is your specialty?
So I do not practice in the area, not specifically immigration, although I do assist with it. My practice areas are probate and administration, real estate, some trust matters. Yes.
Say that again for our listeners at the Village Dad, and for Roderick specifically.
I see. Real estate, probate and administration, and trust matters.
People don't understand how important those issues are.
They really are.
Issues.
They really are, very much so.
And could you educate our villagers on the importance of that in and of itself?
Are we focusing on probate and administration, estate planning?
Exactly.
Estate planning. Ooh,
okay. Estate planning. Sum it up. Have an estate plan, especially if you are a person with property in other countries, children, spouses that you may not have divorced. We see tons of that. You absolutely
another country or here.
Yes, yes. People will remain legally married and die intestate. It is a nightmare to try to untangle families to try to untangle. After this person has passed on, you place your family into the position of trying to figure out what your wishes were. What did you intend? What did you want? And then there is this person that you may still be legally, yoked to, who has a right.
You said yoked to?
Yoked to. She said
it. I like that. Yoked.
Legally yoked.
Yeah.
And it just creates a bit of a logistical nightmare. I think I told your program director, Andrea, a story of a case we dealt with. Had a client call us from a Caribbean country. They were dealing with a real estate matter for someone who died in that country during COVID. But that person was legally separated from one person and living with another for about 20 years.
Lord.
So they contacted me because the person that they were, the deceased was legally separated from, was here in New York at the time. So they contacted me in an attempt to try to get her some help. They said, listen, we can take care of the Caribbean matter, but you're going to need to help her with respect to whatever needs to be done in New York, because this deceased person left property, accounts, different matters here in New York. And I said, well, this is an interesting situation. He is still legally married, but separated, right? And, when the person contacted me, the person that lived here in New York, kept bringing up that, she's the common law spouse, the common law or something like that.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist in New York.
That's why you need a will.
In New York. However, what I did some research and I contacted the attorney back in the Caribbean country and I said, listen, common law doesn't exist, or it's not legally recognized in the state of New York. but it is legally recognized where you are. So here's what we'll do. You'll start the proceeding, the petition in that country. Get that country to legally recognize her as the common law spouse. Once I get that legal recognition, I can take that to the state of New York and say, hey, it's been recognized, because New York will recognize it if another jurisdiction does, but they won't, as a first initial step, recognize a common law.
When you recognize the judgment of another state or another country, isn't that trans something?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Okay.
So I
law and legal. You would have a common law.
Yep.
And then also legal.
Yes.
Oh, that's a mess.
Yes. But the point of the story I tell, just to illustrate, it was the collaborative efforts of the attorneys in these different jurisdictions that got this woman any sort of solution to her issue. Moral of the story is have an estate plan. Helps us answer all the questions, helps us, have something to present to the court that's not just our best guess, right? These are the last will and intentions of this deceased person.
Well, you know what? Well, Renee, that's why we have lawyers.
This is why we have lawyers.
If everybody had everything in order, they wouldn't need us. So it's a good thing. Sometimes, as we say, you got to make sense. You got to make sense out of nonsense.
Oh, geez.
That's what.
But we do other things. We also do other
things. We're asking for contact information.
Oh, wow.
Renee.
I shared it with program manager here. We are on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Our phone number and where is our?
We have CaribbeanLegalSolutions.com. Is that it?
Our guests can email us, and we can get.
They can email us. They can email us at info@CaribbeanLegalSolutions.com. They can call us at 718-887-6141. And we also have a WhatsApp account at that same number, because that's just popular.
As they say, rewind and come again.
You can call or WhatsApp us at 718-887-6141. You can reach us via email at info@CaribbeanLegalSolutions.com, or you can connect with us on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Caribbean Legal Solutions.
All right.
I just got to thank you again for coming on.
You're very welcome.
And providing us the legal knowledge and the know-how of the internal workings of this organization and the benefit it has for our community. So I tip my hat to you and the organizations for a job well done. I want to wish you a great Labor Day. Labor Day weekend. No jumping up. I
will try.
I'm gonna try too, but it's not gonna work. Doc, any last?
Thank you so much for coming on. Our listeners are grateful to have an organization like yours, and please be safe out there.
Yes, we plan.
This crazy time.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you.
And raise the glass.
There you go. Happy birthday.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Take care. All right. So now let's sum it up.
You know what?
You know what I'm upset about?
What?
I am upset about these different states who actually put our kids at risk. With the no mask.
Ladies and gentlemen of the village,
I'm just annoyed about that. Like, protect our babies. Come on. And don't put people at risk. Do not make all these crazy regulations that won't pay teachers or won't pay the school staff because they want to protect themselves. It's not right.
We always need legal representation. Understand that Renee is going to be on this show more frequently because we need legal representations for issues such as that, Doc.
Yeah, we're
going to need somebody to represent you when you go ballistic, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We got your back, Doc.
You know what?
As Roger, what Roger say? Kumbaya.
You know, truly, truly, I am, you know, annoyed with this whole back and forth. I don't know what it is. Could it be because I don't get it? These states creating these crazy laws and regulations, just to what? Is it because they're upset they didn't get their wish? I feel as though it's more Republican state versus Democrat state.
Mhm.
Like, hey, children are at risk, their families are at risk. Please protect them. So I don't know. I had to vent. I'm sorry.
Doc, you know you're always welcome to vent on this show, and it is so important. But Doc, let me talk. Let me talk very frank with you. About you know why are we forcing the teachers but not parents to get vaccinated or have these mask mandates? Why teachers? Why not the parents? What's going on? I don't care if parents don't work for the government or not, but you know what? Why they can't replicate it at home?
Why not protect everyone, right?
True.
So we have some of the counties in Long Island protesting and going against what the governor says. You know what? I meant to ask that question to our lieutenant governor. Shucks. Um, Locust Valley decide they're not going to follow our governor mandate. So what happens? What do we do? What happens to the students, to a county that refused to follow mandates? What's the next step?
You know, it boils down to understanding that we are our brothers and sisters keepers.
Yeah,
We may have to sacrifice some of our constitutional rights and freedoms in order for the holistic benefit of others. That's
that,
what it comes down to.
that is true.
That's what it really comes down to. If you really want to just be basic about this, your freedom, which you are entitled to, but it's about the next individual. Let's step back and stop being selfish for once. Let's understand that we're all in this together. Everybody has to have skin in the game for us to get through this pandemic because we cannot go into another lockdown. We will not be able to sustain
At all.
economic engine.
And that's why the mayor says no Labor Day.
Who? Mayor who? No Labor Day? Yeah, I agree. No
No
Labor
Labor.
Day.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I want to. Yes. Mayor de Blasio said no Labor Day because he does not want to shut down the city again.
And you know what? You know what, Doc? In finalizing to our viewers, thanks for tuning in tonight. But I think the mayor's right, and I just want to say thank you for joining us on the Village.
Yes.
Success, as we always talk about, is just not spoken; it is done. And tonight, I hope we provided you with information from our three guests tonight to provide you with such information that continues with your success in your community. This is about being proactive, not being reactive, grabbing the bull by the horns, and making sure that we are in charge of our own destiny and our success. So, Doc, thank you. To our co host, Roderick Daly. Roderick, feel better.
Yes.
Thanks to Andre, Sophia, our productions. Thank you very much. Doc, any final words?
We want to thank our guests that came today, our Lieutenant General. We want to thank Renee. We also want to thank our young techie. So, thank you everyone for watching and tuning in. Please be safe this weekend and take care of yourself. Follow precautionary measures.
Jump up! Enjoy the Labor Day. Jump up. Don't jump too high and don't get down too low. Have a happy Labor Day. Have a good weekend. And God bless.
See you next week. Bye.
See you next week, villagers.